Three pieces of bad life advice that I'm glad I never followed. Number one is be yourself. When you start to dive into this idea of self, of this identity perception, right? If you are someone that is socially anxious, or if you are someone that doesn't see themselves as confident, and you just start to be yourself and you live your life as the idea of who you think you are, you're going to live your life in this box that you've placed yourself in because this is the kind of person that you think you need to be. And so when we identify with this idea of self, or this idea of, let's just say James, for example, who I am, if I identify with who I thought I was when I was in high school or when I was in middle school, and I lived my life through that same identity throughout my entire life, I would not be recording this podcast right now because I did not see myself as a confident person. And so just being yourself places you in this box of anything that's outside of my comfort zone, anything that's outside of who I think I am or I think I'm capable of achieving, I won't go towards it because that's not the person that I see myself as. And so be yourself is this mindset that really doesn't serve you in the long run, nor does it serve you whatsoever because it's keeping you in the box that you placed yourself within. And so the mindset that I like to take on it is it's not to be yourself. It's not even finding yourself, but it's more about creating yourself, or even more so of unlearning the beliefs, identities, habits that you thought you had to incorporate in your life to be this kind of person or act in accordance to who you think you are. And so rather than trying to just be yourself, I think it's more beneficial for you to think about what kind of person that you want to be. What kind of life do you want to live? What does that person do? What habits do they have? What thoughts do they think? How do they take action on in their day? Right? And so when you think of the future that you want to create, focus more on the person that can create that future instead of just being yourself. Because who you are today is not going to get you to where you want to go tomorrow. Right? What got you here won't lead you there. And that mindset truly is true. And so instead of just quote unquote being yourself, focus on becoming the kind of person that can create the life that you want to live. Because if you were always just being yourself, then you wouldn't create a life that you deserve to live. And it's not about being inauthentic to who you are, but it's more so unidentifying with the idea of who you think you are. That's always almost limiting, because when you really take a step back and you realize it, all of the ideas and perceptions that you place upon yourself, this idea of who you think you are, is an idea. And when you're able to unidentify with that idea of self, you start acting in different ways, you start thinking in different ways, you create different results, and your life changes in the process. So it's not about being yourself, but it's more about becoming the kind of person that can create the life that you deserve to live. And it creates a lot less stress and anxiety and peace, because a lot of the stress and anxiety that we create in our life is self-inflicted suffering, because we're so addicted to states of being and being ourselves that we're so used to feeling and thinking in the same exact way, because that is who we've been for so long. And life becomes a hell of a lot more enjoyable and a lot simpler in the process when we unidentify with who we think we are. So that's number one. Number two is to just be consistent. Practice makes perfect. That kind of mindset that really doesn't serve anyone, because you can be consistent. This is something I learned within starting my business. I feel like starting a business is one of the most impactful ways of self-improvement, because just be consistent really isn't benefiting you. Because if you think about it, right, you can be consistent. You can show up every single day for whatever you're trying to be consistent in. But if you're consistently doing the wrong thing day after day, week after week, month after month, you're going to be exactly where you are. You may have gotten a little bit better, but you're not really making progress. Movement and progress are way two different things. If we're doing the same thing and expecting a new result, it's simply insanity. And so just being consistent or just practicing and thinking that's going to get you to the place that you want to be isn't good enough. It's deliberate practice that's going to get you to where you want to be, right? It's not 10,000 hours, but it's 10,000 iterations that's going to get you to where you want to go. So instead of just trying to be consistent, ask yourself, am I really being consistent in the right things? And am I actually making progress? Because it's likely that the way that you're being consistent, and if you're not where you want to be and you've been consistent month after month and you're not where you'd like to be, or you're not even close to that place, you feel like you're still in a similar position than you were a couple months ago, then it's time to take inventory of what you're being consistent in and if it's even impacting the path that you want to go on. Because just being consistent isn't good enough. And number three is follow your passion. Now, I think in a world where a lot of people want to escape the 9-to-5, that mindset of follow your passion and you can just create the life that you want to live is exciting. And there's good to it and there's bad to it, right? I followed my passion in stepping into coaching and starting a business and starting the podcast. But it wasn't exactly that simple, in the sense that when you follow your passion, it's not just about loving this idea of, oh, what could happen if I followed my passion and I just created this life that I want to live, right? At first, I feel like most people when they're starting a business, it's profit over passion. That's what their mindset is going into it, right? You have to increase your income so that you can follow your passion, right? But it's not as simple as just following your passion. It's more so following in love with the process of actually pursuing your passion. But I want you to think deeper about, what am I going to actually create in my life that's going to be of value of to someone else? Because when you're following your passion, you have to think, what is this doing for someone else? Right? Like, what is this creating for someone else? How is this helping someone else? Because at the end of the day, if you're following your passion, you're trying to make money off of it, or you're trying to change your life by doing so, you have to really think about the other person. It's not about you. As much as following your passion, you might think, oh yeah, I'm going to follow my passion. This is all about me, and I'm going to create a life that I deserve to live. And it doesn't, it's almost that easy. It's almost that easy in the sense that you can follow your passion and create a life that you deserve. But it's also thinking in the sense of, how can I create value for other people so that I can follow my passion, but also profit from it? And so these are 3 pieces of life advice that I've really changed my mindset around. And I've realized that they didn't serve me. And hopefully that once you listen to this, you'll realize that they're likely not serving you either. And if this helped, feel free to toss me a follow on Instagram. Shoot me a DM if you need any support in any way. I appreciate you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.